Welcome to a brand new exciting episode on VJ's playlist. And today I'm very happy to share that I have traveled this far. Yes, I've literally traveled the distance to sit down today for an exciting chat with one of my favorite acts, not just from Mumbai city, but also from the country, long distances. Zubin, Apurv, Karun, and Arifa. Welcome and thank you. And firstly, it's I have to say I'm a bit overwhelmed now as I introduce you guys to my viewers because we have been meaning to sit down and we have literally watched each other grow from strength to strength, on Instagram at least, from the time you guys debuted. So thank you. How are you guys doing and how are you guys feeling?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
We're feeling good. I'm in Goa with Zubin. We've been in this band together for a few years now, and it's the first time I've actually made it out here. So it's good good timing to interview also.
Well, all
Yeah.
I know is that ever since I heard, like many others, I heard the first single Empire, which came out in December 2022. I think I echoed the same sentiment like everyone else, where we were ushering a brand new year ahead. We were ushering into 2023. And I think the common sentiment we all had was long distances is the band to look out for. And towards the end of 2023, long distances not only emerges as a hot favorite amongst Indian independent music fans, but it also goes on to play as one of the as one of the most sought after acts at a big ticket festival. But of course, we'll get to this step by step. I need to ask all of you, how did you begin this journey? Because from a very layman's perspective, or from one's understanding on whatever is out there in the internet, I think the pandemic played a huge part. But I guess I'll leave it to you guys to take it over. How did you all come together?
Somewhere between 2017 and 2020, after writing music for myself really for many years, I finally started recording stuff. And I finally started recording a few things, like a few demos that I liked. And I thought, oh, maybe this is interesting. But I knew that I didn't want to do it myself, because I am not really a singer. And I felt like I needed it felt like a band was required for this, which seems kind of crazy because who does bands anymore? But anyways, somehow by just pure chance, someone, Sanaya, I don't know if you know, Sand Dunes, I got talking with her and she listened to a few of the demos, and the first person she suggested was Arifa. And I was like, Arifa, I'll never do this. Why would she want to do this? This is not even something that she would be interested in. Anyways, long story short, we kind of got talking, and I shared some of those very early demos with her. They were really pretty bad, actually, now that I think about it. But Arifa saw something in them. And anyway, so she started recording. We started recording together, and soon we started writing together. And that's the origin story, really. And then gradually, quite organically, we found people. It wasn't that hard. But before we knew it, we had Apurv, who really happened by chance, but it was amazing. And Sunny were okay, there's three of us, and once we started hearing the demos getting better, I think that's when we
it wasn't even demos, it was mixes as well. Yeah, oh, so I guess now we're a band. We need to put together a band. It's the three of us. We need more people.
Yeah, we definitely need a drummer. Yeah. So that's kind of it.
If Apurva can, if Apurva can have a word here, Apurv, when Zubin came to you with the idea, what was your initial response, and what convinced you that this was an act you wanted to associate with?
Oh yeah, no, I actually heard the initial demos that Zubin was talking about, and I was already convinced. I didn't need much convincing. But initially I came on as basically co-producer. Zubin and I were going to co-produce. I think it was Delicate Surrender was the first song we worked on.
Yeah.
And I was going to mix it and we were going to co-produce it together. And it just like Zubin said, it just kind of organically really worked out. And we have a lot of music in common that we sort of take inspiration from. And even as musicians, like we're into like very similar things with how we use guitar and like how we want to like sort of push the boundaries there and stuff like that. So it just kind of organically like really worked out for us. And then I don't even know, like I was just going to mix the song at first, and then it just kind of like I was like part of the band and I was like writing parts and stuff like that. So I didn't need much convincing at all, and it wasn't really like a discussion that we needed to have or anything. It just sort of like all fell into place.
Behind the scenes, me and Arifa were having conversations like, should we ask him to join? Should we ask him to join? Like, yeah, let's ask him.
Making the
So-
band name, all of that stuff. Also,
And Arifa, what was catch in in joining long distances yourself? Because you have been associated with so many acts in the past, from Ladies Compartment to Toy Catcher to Nuki Jar, and you're also now a singer, songwriter, a solo artist yourself. For what was the catch for you in long distances, or what is it about the act that you very strongly found yourself gravitating towards?
so during the pandemic, when Zubin reached out and Sanaya reached out, initially it was like, I think initially it was just Zubin's like, hey, can you sing on the song? And I was like, I'm not doing anything. Let's do it for sure. And as we were recording takes, and also the pandemic was a phase in my life of a lot of like self-discovery and rumination of like what my music, like why I'm doing music. And I realized that I did enjoy singing this style of music. It's just that I've been heavily underconfident and slightly shy on stage to like be a front person. I've always had to hide behind an instrument, and now to just do vocals would is something that I've always thought of doing, but I never actually did it. I've done it, and I was enjoying myself singing these songs. Like it reminded me of Haley, like I was Haley Williams, jumping around while recording, and so yeah, I like the music. I enjoy the music, and so that's the main factor.
And of course, long distances found its, live ensemble with the likes of, Adil Kurwa, Gauri Ranjit, and Karun Kanampilli joining it in their respective rights. Karun, I need to ask you this because you are quite the star drummer of the city, if I may say so, because one has seen you perform live alongside the likes of Kamakshi Khanna and Tejas. What drew you to associate with long distances?
I mean, I love the music basically. So when I was sent the music and asked to play, I was like, yeah, this is totally the kind of music I enjoy playing. And it's like when you're a sessions drummer in Bombay, it's always like you do a certain amount to make your living and a certain amount of stuff that like actually feeds your soul. And I think this is one of those projects that like fully feeds my soul, and I really enjoy playing these kind of drums. It's like I have zero stresses when I'm playing this music. So it's really, really fun.
Now, before we dwell further into music, we need to understand the genres that you all specialize in. If you break it down, the music that long distances make, it involves a lot of classic post-punk, new wave, dream pop, and shoegaze. Now, coming from a layman's perspective, and for a lot of us who don't even have a dummy's understanding of what these genres are, if you all have to really, just break it down for all of us and make us understand what are these genres about and where, what are the influences you all draw from that reflect in the music that you all put out.
I mean, I won't get into like sort of like introducing or explaining the genres at all, because that's a whole thing. But I think one common thread between all the genres that you mentioned that we take inspiration from is that the songwriting is sort of like influenced by sonic textures and sort of like sonic progressions. And I think that's like a common thread between all those genres. And that's something that we also try to include in our sound as much as we can, which sort of like lends our sound to like be categorized in one of somewhere between those genres. So I think like, like using guitars as like a texture, or like using synths as like a bed or whatever, like it's I think those are the things that sort of like, there's like the songwriting, which is like almost like very like, almost has like a pop sort of like approach to it. And then it just kind of like takes over, like the sonic textures, like sort of take it over to like a very different space.
Yeah, and I think there's also like in addition to that, on the other side, there's a melodic aspect to it. Like it's melodic music. And but also it doesn't really shy away from, say, like emotional delivery and stuff, as like certain music did at certain points of time. So it's really hard to pin it down, and like influences and all. So actually, if you just ask all of us right now who are influences for this band, you'd probably get a different answer from each one of us. Like, I'm pretty sure. So I think
I-
that.
And I
Yeah,
think
go-
between the genres you mentioned itself, there's so many differences. Like dream pop and shoegaze are not like, they don't really sound like each other.
Alike.
So they don't sound alike, right? So it's just elements from, I think,
Yeah.
the three of them primarily, and now with the new members, all of our elements of music that we really like coming together to make something, but something that's cohesive, not just like slapped together.
Arifa?
And I think the
Yeah,
interesting thing is also the plots between these genres. I think that's where we're kind of like, because like we talked about, is like there's a whole thing in shoegaze of being like purely shoegaze, and we're definitely not a purely shoegaze band, and we don't want to be
Right.
one. Like that's
Yeah.
not.
I don't think we
us.
would ever call ourselves a shoegaze band, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
like
And-
not specifically shoegaze
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Like it's what Zubin was saying. It's like kind of like the intersection between all these genres where we kind of like to be in.
Sorry, Arifa. you were
all
saying?
of our interests. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Like it's a khichdi of a bunch of our like masalas that we've put together because
Yeah,
It's quite the assortment.
yeah. Which is what makes it, but yeah, which is what like I'm realizing, Karan, as you said, like there are elements from each of these things that we've put together, and then there are also our influences that are sometimes not even dream pop or shoegaze or this thing. It's just like our own artistic preferences and style
Yeah.
and
Actually, Madonna is a
so
big influence for long distances, but no one really knows that. But now we're yeah.
Guys, I have to ask this question because this is quite the burning question right now, that a lot of acts are asking each other, in an informal discourse, actually, without naming the artist. I was recently watching a midnight live of an artist who has just put out a new song, and he was asked a question on who are your favorite bands in India. And he just said, just give me the top 5 names right now yourself. Do you know the top 5 bands in India right now? And I don't know if it was coming from a place of maybe he doesn't know or what, or maybe he wants to find out if the audience knows. But I mean, how do you guys gauge this sort of a sentiment, or what do you guys make of it, where the larger question is that why do we have such less bands or such less live acts in India right now?
I mean, I think it's a very layered question because in some ways it's better to be a live act now than it was, say, 15 years ago. Like the lots of like I remember times of playing gigs where you would play an original song and people would boo you off stage, being like, "Hey, we want only covers." So like I think the Indian audiences are way more accepting to original music now. They really are hungry for it. But there's a lot of like I think um roadblocks in the way, right? Venues we have, like if you think about Bombay, how many venues do we actually have that support live music? How many brands are there that's putting money behind live acts? And I think we kind of have moved towards this partly because of Spotify. There are lots of reasons. There's like legislation behind it. There's culture behind it, but we moved towards a culture of kind of supporting quick singles behind one artist. So you want to kind of idolize a singular person rather than a band. And I feel like band music is suffering because of it, but it has its place, it's still like has its fans, has people who love it. So hopefully that just keeps getting bigger.
Right.
Also,
Yeah,
it's not easy being in a band, right? Like just generally no one, I think that it also like, I think we've come out of an era where bands were idolized, like where a lot of us grew up in, right? So we still hold on to that. But I think a lot of the kids who are maybe in their early 20s, I don't want to speak for them, but like, I don't think it's the same association with, what is cool or like what is culturally relevant. So I think it's a bit of like, because it's a very different thing, like the way we're sharing music essentially, right? It's not like uh it's like, and even it's a kind of like, if you look at our writing process and how it's changed from those early singles, like we are very collaborative now, right? And that's not easy because it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a lot of trust. Like I think that's one thing that we really trust each other's instincts, which is not easy to find. It's kind of lucky that we have this. I was
It's
thinking
a
about that, like
process
it's
also.
very hard
It's
to
a
get
whole
that.
process.
Hmm.
It's like getting into a relationship and like it
Fully.
is getting into a relationship, and so it takes time and nurturing and patience and effort and support and all of those things, and those are serious things that it's easier to I guess do alone or hire people to have a team if you're a solo artist versus a band just gets logistically a little hectic.
Yeah,
I
I
spoke
think
to
there's like an
Komarosi.
element of.
I'm sorry. Sorry,
Sorry, go
continue.
ahead, go ahead. Finish
No,
it.
go ahead.
I was gonna say there's like a little bit of an element of like having too much pressure on musicians and bands. Like I think bands are just fun. Like, all the things that these guys mentioned are all the things that are tough about it. But honestly, like playing in a band is like damn fun. Like you make music with your friends, you
100%.
get stuck, but you have a great time. And I think that just needs to be like, I think more people just need to like experience that for them to like be like, oh, this is great, like I think just because of like the industrialization of music, like there's so many things that like kind of keeps people away. Like it's like there's so many reasons for you to not form a band, right? Like if you want to make
Yeah.
it as a musician, you're going to make it as a solo musician. You're probably not going to make it as a band. But that's just like missing the point of what being a band is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit
Yeah.
about like sort of like we like I guess younger generations don't like hang out as much either anymore. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but maybe yeah, it's just
That-
like, it's like forming human connections and stuff like that. Like it's more fun than it's like it's not really a chore, honestly. Like
But I'll have to take a cue out of my recent interview with Comarosi, where I spoke to the lead, the frontman of Comarosi, Gaurav Govilkar, and he said that the pandemic especially was a bit of it was a very pressurizing situation at that time, because so much of physical proximity was needed for each member to be in sync and on the same page and on the same wavelength when you're making music. On the other hand, with you guys, y'all literally came together as an act because, irrespective of the pressures of the pandemic, and I'm not taking away from the fact that, it may not have, posed its share of challenges, in front of you guys, but how did y'all find your way out of it? What did you guys do differently to, see yourself through this phase?
Right.
I think
Feel like
us
we're
like sorry, yeah, go.
Sorry, go for it, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say one thing that like us sort of finding people like Karun and Adil and Gauri who were like connected with the music and were so excited about it, and like that was like a huge push for us, because I remember when it was just Zubin Arifa and I, it felt like the biggest challenge to be like, how the fuck do we get this like as like a live act, like it feels like a huge mountain to climb, and but it wasn't like it was damn fun, and yeah, I think it's like finding the right people, and that really sort of like helped us.
And we're like
get
just
there,
really fortunate
Yeah.
to have found somehow these people. And I think it like, if I want to hear your point, but
Yeah.
my point to just add to that is like the music. I think for this band, we came to the music first, and then we've kind of now we're friends, right? We are in each other's lives and we're messaging each other almost every day and stuff. Sometimes for like too much, but like yeah. It's to the pandemic question, I think like we are very hybrid in the way we work. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a band that you'd see 20 years ago that you're all sleeping on the floors. And there are still bands like that, but like, this is not that band. And we have realized that to get to make this kind of music, we have to think creatively. We have to be hybrid. We're doing this partly remote thing when we're writing, then we'll get in the same room together and let's work on melodies. So it's not like, oh, let's go and jam and then a song will come. It's different from that, but it has to be both. It couldn't have just been all remote. We wouldn't be able to do so many songs. We have to get in the same room. We have to feel that energy and love. And I think that really is the model right now. And we're like, this is what we have. So let's, it's not ideal, but this is what we can do. Sorry, Arifa, you were saying.
No, I was just gonna say it's a content, like we keep figuring things out, like where it's not that we've figured it out and like, yeah, we know how to get through a pandemic and be a band. It's a continuous process of like, oh, this we need to figure this out, and just by being friends and talking to each other through it, I guess is how we navigate through it, just with communication, constant communication.
Coming to your debut EP, How the Mighty Will Fall, I think these are, songwriting that really hit to a different level. I have to begin by first starting with one of my favorite songs from the EP, Skin to See, which is about loss. And I am in that stage right now. I mean, having lost a parent to the pandemic, I can say that any song that is, written about loss hits different to me, and I lose sight of any objective. I don't even go into any kind of critique or anything when a song is written about loss. So I want to ask the band, how did this song come to fruition?
It's a three-part story. I'll start us off. So I lost my dad in I'm forgetting 21, I think 21. Yeah, that's all gray area right now. But
21 to
and
Anyway, yeah.
yeah. So in early, sure, was it 21? Sorry. Anyway, I'm blanking. But anyways, it was in December, and I think in Feb of that year, I wanted to write. So I just like was ready to write again, and I started on Skin to See, and I only had like a very small bit of it, and I remember sharing with everyone. I was like, if someone wants to take this somewhere, please do it. So I think that's kind of the genesis of it. But it was a strange one because I mean, all of us have experienced loss, right, in different ways in our lives. So I think it was actually very easy to tap into that feeling, surprisingly. And I think when I handed it over to Apurv, who then I think wrote 2 sections of it, and then Arifa did vocal melodies and stuff, and then we wrote lyrics together when she came to Goa. These guys just took it to a very different place, and then each part of the song had these different sections which kind of dealt with it in a different way, like, and it was almost felt like stages of grief, and it kind of ends in just like this, almost like it should be a scream, like of like into the void kind of a thing. But yeah, that's kind of the you guys want to
Arifa, do you want to add anything?
I mean, Zubin said it, like we've all experienced loss, and I was just taking some drawing parallels and trying to write something. If I'm being fairly honest, while you were talking, like, what are the lyrics? What did I write? I can't remember it just off the top of my head. The only thing that's playing in my mind is skin essence. That's the only thing that I can remember. Um, but uh, um, but yeah, I remember also possibly it was Skin to See. Was that the first one we both wrote lyrics for it, like together, or was that another song as the first one?
I think it was Skin to See. Yeah.
It was Skin to See. Correct.
It was our first like
Yeah.
highly collaborative song of us. Yeah.
Right, because before that it was like Zubin would have written the lyrics would have already been written and the melody would be somewhat there, and then he would send it over and he'd be like, the melody is like whatever, but you can feel free to change it up. But we'd mostly stick to what the melody was. And this one, there was a lot of space to experiment and create and collaborate. So yeah, that was fun.
In fact, I remember the day when I went to Bombay and Apurva and me worked on his. Literally, it was just that initial section that was there first, and there was nothing. It was blank. There was like a drum beat, I think, and I went to his house, and he's like, "I think I have something. Like, just see what we're all feeling and all." And he played the last two parts of the song, the last two kind of motions of the song, and they were so with just the guitar. They were so emotionally powerful. Those two parts that like he fully channeled what I think I was feeling and we were feeling about what the song should be about in the music. And it was a very touching moment. I think I recorded it when he was playing his guitars. And yeah, I don't know, somehow, this song, everyone just it's a special song, both because I think like the origin story, but also what the emotion that people brought to it felt very unforced.
Yeah.
Or very easy. It just flowed. Like the song happened very quickly. So it's special, I think, in that
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
for sure.
I remember that day, like
Yeah,
at your
totally.
place.
I think even when we play it live, it's like definitely, it's like quite like an emotionally charged song, when we do play it live, because the last few sections are like, there's a lot of movement there, and it does end on this like very sort of like noisy and like, yeah.
Yeah, the only way you get through that right foot part where you play the kick drum is being like upset and angry and like, yeah, you properly feel the pain during that part.
Karun is basically just playing his kick drum like duk, duk, duk. What is it like? Duk, 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 duk.
It's like right foot kills me by the end of that song.
I remember coming across a very interesting quote in one of the interviews that you all have given to a leading publication. I think Zubin said that the vision for long distance is that you all want to make music that is not compliant of any of the trends or the industry norms now that everybody is falling into. But Zubin, do you think while that really sounds noble, on the surface, it can be a bit daunting, or it can be a bit challenging in trying to actually keep your foot solid on the ground. I mean, is that something that you
Yeah.
see which is achievable?
To rephrase that question, she's basically asking Zubin, why do you want to die poor?
I have a day job. The answer to that is because I have a day job. No, I think like no, I think it's really at the end of the day, it's like I think all of us want to write music that we want to write. And
Right.
like there's no, and Arifa has actually been a very from the beginning, like when we were working on Love Song very early, people were like, how can there be a 1 minute intro? That's unheard of now. Like, how can you get to the chorus at 3 minutes? At 3 minutes, the chorus comes in. And they're like, you gotta cut this short. It's very self-indulgent. And I'm like, no, it's actually not. Like we want this to take time, Let it be a 5 minute song as our single. And people are like, you're crazy. It's actually the most streamed song, like. So I feel like that gave us a feeling that no, we can just stick to what we want. And you know what? We're not trying to be I don't know who it is. I don't want to name names, but like we're not
We're
trying
trying to be
ourselves.
self-indulgent. We're not
We're
trying to be
ourselves.
self-indulgent.
I think we're trying to be ourselves, and if that's self-indulgent at times, maybe, but like
Then that's beautiful. Then that's
no, there's
amazing,
some
right?
strength
Because
in
we're
that. I think there's a
enjoying
strength in that.
yeah,
The
yeah.
objective of me asking that question was, is it easy to stay true to oneself in a day and age where everybody's chasing either clout or virality or anything but music? How does one stay fierce and
But
footed?
not chasing those things, I guess. Like if you're not chasing any of those things, then it's easy. Like
There's a power in saying no. I don't want to be
Yeah.
part of that game. Because then you're attracting people who are not listening to your music for that. You're
Yeah.
attracting people who are listening to music for your music and who you are. And I think we're all kind of like that in some ways. Like we're all practical in different ways. Karan's our most practical member for sure. But at the end of the day, everyone is like, say.
I said, I think we should always walk a line. Like, I mean, obviously, with the music, you have to be true to the music. But then with the rest of the world, there's a bit of like a line that you need to walk to get into the eyesight or earshot of enough people, who can resonate with their music.
Yeah.
Right.
Karun balances us out. It's a bit more like, which is good. It's a really good thing.
I'm a bit more of a sellout.
No, you said it. I didn't say it.
Well, all I know is that long distances as a band, they have really managed to not find a clout, but they have found a fandom for themselves and a very loyal one at that. One that was evident in what we saw, in the run up to, when you guys, in the run up to you guys taking over the stage at Lollapalooza. And even after that, even with what happened with the fiasco that transpired. But before we get to actually dissecting your fandom, if I, not meaning to, rub salt onto anybody's wounds or, not wanting to ruffle any feathers, but if I can, get you guys to actually share, if, in a nutshell, what really happened there, because a lot of us have little to no understanding of what really transpired, when you guys were supposed to take to the stage at Lola on day one, when you all were scheduled to perform. So what happened there?
Well, it was a series of unfortunate
Yeah.
incidents. I mean, first of all, like, I think like just to be asked to do Lola so early in like our, playing life as a band was amazing. I think like we were very stoked about it. It was very exciting. We worked really hard for that gig, obviously. I mean, like we were opening the festival. And we also had to actually say no to a lot of other festivals before us. So there's a lot of emotional kind of stuff that to the leader of that. And I think that once we were finally there, it was great to be on stage. And then there were some technical issues, which they're still a little cloudy, but something around the gates not being able to open. So we had to cut our set short, drastically short, I would say, to put it like sweetly. And that's it. What am I?
Yeah, I mean, like Zubin said, it was like operational and technical things that basically the gates couldn't open and stuff. We played one song, which, we were like, I think we were all pretty like bummed about it because like, as like Zubin said, we were like really looking forward to the gig. We had like prepped for it quite a bit,
Really
and
was.
we'd also like,
Yeah, I think that was the
Yeah,
one
and,
really good thing that came out of it is like we got in a room and we really figured out how to make those songs. The short set that we already had, it was like whatever, 15-minute set, 30-minute set.
Half an hour set.
Half an hour set, 30-minute set that we really got those songs to sound super cohesive and really like I think the best that they've ever sounded live. So that's one good thing that actually came out of it. It's like now every time we take that to a show, it has that same confidence behind it that was built through those rehearsals.
Yeah.
but it was like it was
Right.
definitely like a big sort of like crash coming down from it because, it just sucked like not being able to play your music. And like Zubin already mentioned, but like because of like contractual stuff, we couldn't play like other festivals that were kind of around the same time. And I guess in a way we put all our eggs in the Lola basket and they all got smashed.
True,
Yeah.
true.
I mean,
But
I think a lot of us just took it on the chin afterwards and be like, you can't, it's totally out of your control. So
Yeah.
there's no point in sitting and blaming
Yeah.
people or moping about it. I
Yeah.
think we've all moved on and it's like, chalo, ho gaya, and let's see what happens. Let's
Yeah,
keep
there's
going.
not much like we don't really blame anyone because like we get like how these things sort of work. And to be fair, everyone in the Lola team like worked really hard for that festival, and I think they were also equally disappointed that it went this way. But
Yeah.
just for us from like being the band, it's like definitely a big bummer. But yeah, we've like Karun said, like we've sort of like built our set like much strong, way more strong after that. And like like the songs are like we don't have to worry about them as much. We have them down. And yeah.
I mean, choosing to focus on the positives, I think it can be said that, the amount of support that poured in for you guys and, the amount of love that, sort of transpired, from that episode. Do you feel that somewhere it has added to your listenership? Have you guys seen a spike in, the number of streams that your songs are witnessing now? Like the more people actually know about long distances because of the because of the association with the brand. So as much as, there may be, and like it has its fair share of bitter memories attached to it. But do you also see that there are enough goods that have come out of, that episode?
I feel like post Lola, a lot of people were really upset that they couldn't, like, they came out to watch us specifically because it's a huge stage and a great opportunity and experience for us and friends and family and everyone there. I feel like it's just given us that much more support in our arsenal of motivation where we keep it to be like we're gonna keep coming back stronger. I don't know if that really answers your question, but I feel like to some degree that support of that missed opportunity in some sense is is one is one thing that, like, numbers on Spotify or like listenership and engagement, and this is all like curatable and we can work on it and stuff, but people actually being like, yeah, we're gonna come for your gigs when you have them outside of Lola, like that's what
Yeah.
I
And
guess
the gig we
we're
did right
very
after
grateful
Lola
for.
was completely sold out, which was also
Yeah,
super motivating. You know, that G5A gig that we did right after that really felt like a redemption gig for us. And it like, I think, like Zubin said, you can catch it on YouTube, the full gig, but
Yes, I
you'd
will be
see
linking it.
you'd see
I will
that.
be linking to this interview.
link it over here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll link it somewhere here. Please watch it.
Okay.
I think the whole
Yeah,
Lollapalooza,
but you'll
like,
see that we really enjoyed ourselves with that entire gig because it was like such a release from the Lola, whatever, the disappointment that we took on the chin. It was like a really great release, that gig, and everyone seemed to have a super fun time. I know we did for sure.
yeah, I think the lead up to Lola was difficult. Just also there were health issues in the band. We were going through a rough time, and I think like it was at our, I would say, lowest point in our short life. And there were moments where we were like, how are we going to get through this? And something happened after that. Something happened. We actually sat down and talked about it together. We had our first therapy session. It should have been documented. And we kind of came out of that really. We started communicating better with each other. And we decided for the G5A gig, we're just going to have fun. And it doesn't matter. Like, just let's have fun. It was a very long set. So it was stressful, but we genuinely, I feel like, enjoyed ourselves and reminded ourselves like, that's why we're doing it. And it's cool. Shit's going to happen as we go along. So I think you're right. It did really, and in addition to that, I think the response from people was very heartwarming. I mean, it was quite amazing to see that there were people who were standing up. People who didn't even like listen to our music also were like, like, that's not cool. But yeah.
So as fans of music, are you guys excited for the third edition of Lola? Which are the acts you all are looking forward to hopefully catching up?
Arifa.
I'm really excited for Nothing But Thieves. I have been excited about Nothing But Thieves for as long as they've been around, and I thought they were coming down last year, but they're coming this year, and it's gonna be cool. That's the one band I'm really. I know all their songs. I know Green Day as well, but I feel like I was telling Apoorv this also recently. It's been a while that I've listened to a lot of Green Day, and like that's my nostalgia bank of songs that I would listen to. But Nothing But Thieves, like I actively listen to all their albums almost every day. So that's the one act I'm fucking excited about. Sorry for the language.
I
So
mean,
Nothing
I'm
But
super
Thieves
excited
for...
about.
Yeah, sure. But continue.
I'm saying I'm super excited about Green Day. Like I feel like I started playing drums the way I play drums in part because of Trey Cool. So like a lot of the grooves I learned when I was just starting out were all Green Day grooves. All the songs I learned were all Green Day songs. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited about Cory Wong and Aurora. I'm
Yeah.
excited to check them out. I think they'll be fun to watch live. And I'm playing with Raghav Miatal, so I'm excited about that. I think that will be a fun set.
Zubin, Apoorv?
For me, hanumankind, yeah. I mean, obviously everyone's talking about him right now, but I think he's gonna have He's gonna have a mad set. So I think that'll be probably
Nice.
the most excitement is gonna be around that, at least from the Indian side of the scene. So it's great that he's getting that full-on platform, which he doesn't need anymore because he's got everyone.
Kapoor?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look forward to Aurora. I think that'll be a cool set to watch. And it'll be nice to watch Corey Wong, who I weirdly enough like went to music college with. So maybe I'll like maybe I'll be like, "Yo, what's up?" But yeah, that's about it for me.
Well, long distances, for all I know, is on the favorites list for everybody I have spoken to. But if I have to ask the members of long distances from our Indian independent acts, of course, Zubin just mentioned Hanumankind. But when y'all are sitting down and unwinding and listening to, other Indian artists, who do you pick as your favorites and whose music as per your recommendations, we must dig into and we must definitely check them out if people watching this haven't yet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many great bands in India right now. Like a lot of them we
Okay, everyone gets three. Everyone gets three.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone mentions
Go
their
for
top three. Chalo.
All right. I think
Because there's so many.
there are so many.
Don't take mine.
I think like the Green Park album this year is like I really love it, and they're a fucking great band. I recently saw Don Raj play live in Bombay, and that's also so fun. Like love him and love his dance moves. And,
Who,
and
by the way, I
third,
have to get, who was the first you mentioned?
Green Park.
Green Park.
Green Park. Right.
Not to be confused with Green Day. They're different bands.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're really great. And I think the third one I'd mention is I don't think they've come out with new music recently, but this band Low Peninsula from the Northeast.
He took two of mine. Okay, fine.
But yeah, they're a great band. Like definitely deserve all the support and listens that you know. Yeah.
I can go really quick. Signal W, I think fantastic band. Their
Lovely.
biggest fan. Someone I think who's gonna be amazing because I've heard his album that's about to come out is Sunflower Tape Machine, Aryaman. Fantastic album that's gonna blow everyone's mind. I'm pretty sure he's announced it already. And third one I would say is Apu's other band called Honey's Dead, which is it's like they are so like they just don't want to release anything, but they are a fantastic band that actually when I found out that he was playing with Honey's Dead, I was really like stoked that he would be part of our thing. So that would be my three.
Yes. Arifa.
So Apurv said Don Raj and then Zubin said Signal W. So I'm a little lost at the moment. But if I let me think, Karan, do you have
So my camera has decided, someone randomly called me in the middle of this. So my camera decided to say, F
Pictures
off.
of the bands there when
Give
you
me a
say.
second.
Sure.
Sorry, give me a second, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the bands that I was thinking of also have been said. But Sudan, I've just
Yeah.
been listening to them recently. It sounds so good, really fresh. I sub for him sometimes, but Tejas, I always love his new music, and I'm always excited when he puts out new music. And I think he puts out so much new music that it's great, and everything is just with each album he gets better. So those are the two I would add to the already extensive list.
Mhm.
Right. I mean,
And
there's so many.
does
Like,
Arifa have a list yet?
I do have I've thought of one person that he recently released an EP. I hadn't heard of him before. He's actually Sharad's brother Adi Rao. And I heard him perform and sing, but I've recently heard his production and I was like, whoa, this is like I would love to see this live. So I would say Adi Rao is one act that I'm excited about. I'm really sorry, you guys. Don Raj and Signal W are people that I'm genuinely excited about. So I don't know what else to say. Like I really enjoy Raj's way of thinking and how he approaches music, and Signal W. I did amplify
Yeah.
the artist residency with them recently, and their performance, just the stage presence and them as people, and it's been amazing to witness that. So that's I can't. Why would I say someone else when these are the two options that I really like, truly firmly believe and honestly like really vibe with. So these are my three. Sorry.
Also, just to like context step it one step higher to look at the what's happening in the Bombay scene, not just the Bombay scene, but like there's an indie rock kind of thing happening right now again, which after a long time, which is really heartening. And I feel like
Yeah.
it needs to kind of find some support because like it's not easy to support that kind of music, but I feel like we need curators and festivals and stuff to like program these bands again, like because there's some really good bands coming out right now. Like I know there was like the golden period that happened in those like early 2000s and 2010s, right? And that whole year, but that whole decade. But I feel like now it's happening again. And some really amazing exciting talks in the garden. There's like it's just like
Yeah,
you can
that's-
I'm forgetting, but there's so many, right? So I think like and then from the hard scene passive, it's just there's a lot going on of really high quality good music that needs to be heard and needs to be supported because I feel like without the support, it's very hard to kind of like really like push that kind of music without having to put a lot of money into it, you know?
Yeah.
On that note, as we end this interview, and it's been a very, very elaborate but very lovely chat with you guys. But as we end this interview, of course, we've spoken about the G5A experience that pretty much made up for the Lola fiasco. But I have to get to that because Zubin was kind enough to share the highlights of that performance with me, and I'm like still to finish it because I'm legit listening to each song, very intently. So I find myself, constantly going back to the timestamps of the ones that I've loved. And there are these beautiful unreleased songs that now I cannot wait for the world to watch. Like I'm in love with Crumble and Soul. So congratulations,
Nice.
much in
Yes.
advance for those songs. But which and I also need to like really, really somehow ensure that the next time long distance is performing, I attend that because for some strange reason, me attending a long distance show has been like sort of jinxed, and I really need to break that. But
We can't
what do
play
you
at your
guys?
house, dude.
Program us,
No. Well, I stay at a distance, guys. I don't know if you guys will come all the way to Mulund for me,
That's
No,
but
this
for
is
so
we're
much
called
love.
I
long distances. It's perfect. It makes complete sense. We're called long distances.
also I live in Vikhroli. You're basically right here.
Ooh, okay. Then
and
I
house
think
gig.
How should-
no,
We've
but
been wanting to
I will definitely call you guys when I do have the paying capacity for you guys because you all must be rightfully remunerated for your music. But what do you guys foresee for yourselves in the months and the years to come? What are the
Yeah,
broad
I mean,
stroke plans?
just to take a step back, I think the G5A show was like really great for us because we had a really long set and we'd already been working on new music but that sort of like really pushed us to like bring it all together. And so, we like started like on those rehearsals with like 5 or 6 songs that we used to play at shows, and now we have like a 75-minute set all of a sudden. So yeah, that was great. But I think just to answer your question, like we're basically working on like 2 new singles that we really want to put out this year. And can I say which ones they are?
No.
Okay.
We'll
We'll-
wait for the
No.
announcements on Instagram. Yes.
yeah,
But we're very
that's the
excited
really
about
good
it.
plan.
And there's actually larger plans of doing
Yeah.
a full album next year that Apur's in Goa right now, and we're gonna actually write the first song in a couple of days.
Yeah.
We're gonna start it at least,
Yeah.
and then bring everyone else on board. But
Basically, Zubin and
then-
Apurva are on a little retreat.
Yeah. Well, Ruben's still working. Like I've just crashed his like work days, but I'm on a retreat for sure.
no, yeah, no, there's plans, and I think there's also like we've put the pressure off us a bit because I think like with this band, like we did get attention very fast, right? Because people are known and stuff. And I think that's great. And we're very grateful for it. But I think it also, sometimes we're like, why are we taking it so seriously, in the sense that let's also give ourselves a little bit of space to grow, write songs, make songs better. I feel like, I mean, even having the G5A gig up, right? It's kind of crazy. It's like our 5th or 6th gig, and it's like fully recorded on the thing, and it's quite nerve-wracking sometimes.
Multicam footage, like it was.
Which is great. That's been great. But like literally having audio up where, we're still working on some songs. They're not all the way there. But I think like it's just about also respecting our own timelines and saying, hey, it's okay. We're at a point where we don't need to say that we have to release something right now, but let's just go with the music again, respect everyone's time, and figure out what
That's the thing that got us Lala in the first place, right? We just did
Yeah.
the thing for the music and it got us Lala. So
exactly.
we're doing the
That's a
same
good
thing
reminder.
again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Karun?
That, I mean, I agree. I am in agreement of everything. What is my future plans is for the band is mainly focusing on these next singles. I think they'll be really, really fun to put down, and like it was super fun learning all of Jay's parts and playing them, but I'm excited to put my own parts to these new songs, which will be exciting to do. Therefore, I'm excited about it. I don't know whether I mentioned that I'm excited about this process. I'm kind of excited to do these things. Yeah,
Haven't you
and that's
already
it.
recorded your drum parts though? Isn't
I've
didn't-
recorded them. I've recorded demos for a
Correct.
couple of songs. So I'm really
Correct.
like, I think it's going to be
Sorry.
super fun when we actually hit the studio and do it as like the final product.
Yeah, and just to add to what Karun said, like I think this time is going to be really great and extra fun because like all 6 of us are going to be recording on these songs, and we're really excited to sort of like have that have everyone's energies like in the recordings and everything. So it's definitely going to be like quite a departure from what we've done so far.
Yeah, it's new era.
New era,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like the name of the band suggests, this is a band that is in for the long haul, and I really hope that they travel the distance long enough to find themselves actually playing in some of the biggest festivals across the world. But thank you so much, Zubin, Apur, Arifa, and Karun for taking the time out to speak to me on VJ's playlist. This has been a wonderful, wonderful chat, and I really wish you guys all the best. You have not just a loyal listener in me, but also one who is always willing to look out for your best work and for you guys. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
the
Thank
distance
you.
traveled
appreciate
so
that.
far.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.